This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on The South Today, it's a southern favourite as the Golden Shearing Champs come to Invercargill. It's a hard road getting it right. It's a small country to walk end to end, but you try it by adding 2 dogs and a rickshaw. And wind is usually a sailor's friend, but too much of it, well, that spoils a good thing. And a very good evening, I'm Craig Story. From the bottom of the South Island to the top of the North, a Wellington man is taking his 2 dogs for the longest walk ever. Stephen Brassett and his Chihuahua and Pug Spaniel Cross left Invercargill with their rickshaw to take part of a fundraising campaign for a good cause.
It's every good dog's dream, a walk that seemingly never ends. I'm Roselle LeBone. I'm here with Stephen Brassett and Jake, and Stephen is taking his rickshaw and his pups along for the trip around the South Island to raise awareness about animal welfare. When the trio, that's Brassett, Jake and Piccolo the Chihuahua, aren't out on the road, they sleep and eat in their custom-built trailer. They began their South Island odyssey in Southland in early January and arrived in Dunedin this week, stopping by the Opaho SPCA for a cup of tea. Kirsty Thompson says Brassett's actions are bringing attention to the funding needs of the SPCA.
We don't get any government funding and we rely solely on donations from the public. So we're always looking for fundraising opportunities. So as part of Stephen's visit here today, we've been talking about the big capital building project we're doing on site, and that's got a big total. We're trying to reach 1.5 million.
Jake the Puggalea can sometimes walk up to 20 kilometres a day, while Piccolo prefers to relax in comfort while taking in the sights.
The rickshaw is there to carry most of our supplies, and yes, it's important for me to have a place to put the dogs if they want to get out of the elements, or if they just don't feel like walking that day, or particularly if they're injured or something like that. I need to have a way that I can still move while they're protected. But majority of the time, especially Jake, he's really walking with me most of the time. Piccolo seems to spend a lot more time in the camper because he's a bit older and a bit more fragile.
Is that the boy that you've got in there at the moment?
Yeah, he's the little small Chihuahua in there. He's not really having a bar of the weather, and it's a bit cold for him. So
Brassett and his 2 companions will be on the road for about a year. Their next stop is Oamaru. Roselle LeBone, The South Today.
A group of hunters will be staying put in Southland for an extra couple of days due to 2 bridges being washed out. The 10 people will camp out about 10 kilometres north of Piano Flat until Thursday, when it's expected the crossings will be repaired. Police do not hold any concerns for the hunting party at this stage, as they are well provisioned for their unplanned extended stay. Dunedin-based Workplace Relations and Safety Minister Michael Woodhouse has announced the minimum wage will increase by 50 cents to $15.75 an hour on April the 1st this year. The youth rates will increase from $12.20 to $12.60 per hour, remaining at 80% of the adult minimum wage. Minister Woodhouse says an increase to $15.75 will benefit approximately 120,000 workers and will increase wages throughout the economy by $65 million per year. However, the ATU union says the 50-cent increase in the minimum wage doesn't go far enough, and employers should commit to paying the living wage. The increase is the 4th successive 50-cent increase made by the national government. The BIC National Sailing Championships had to be abandoned yesterday morning as high winds pummeled the competitors. Many sailors didn't even make it to the starting line. Discretion was the better part of valour for organisers and competitors, as yesterday's nationwide sailing contest was delayed for a few hours. Winds were howling in Otago Harbour, reaching 40 knots, causing many sailors to be tipped out of their yachts. The 40-strong fleet tried to start yesterday about 10:30 yesterday morning, but gave in due to the strong winds. The winds had eased somewhat by the afternoon, allowing boats to head out onto the water again at about 1:30. Thousands of people and sheep will be flocking to Southland in 2 weeks. The World Shearing and Wool Handling Championships are just around the corner, and the organisers are putting the finishing touches together.
It's likely to become a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for Southland. Hi, I'm Ruby Spink in Invercargill at the ILT Stadium, where in just 2 weeks the World Shearing and Wool Handling Championships will be held. Tom Wilson has been one of the chief organisers for the event, and after 3 years of being in the pipeline for Southland, he's expecting it to go well.
Ticket sales are going so well, and the Friday and Saturday evening now are looking to be pretty well full up in the next week or two. So we're pretty happy with things. We have a capacity here of around about 3,500 to 4,000. So we're hoping to fill it every day.
He says over the 4-day event, including the All Nations competition, there will be around 400 competitors. For competitive shearers, the idea is to shear the sheep as close to the skin as possible while keeping the length consistent. And for wool handlers, they pull out the daggy bits to present the most pristine wool, all under a time pressure. 4,200 sheep will be needed for the event, but that's not the only challenge for organising the competition.
Basically, just administering the whole thing is a challenge, because we've got countries as far away as Mongolia, Estonia, Japan, and there's the language difficulties and all sorts of that type of thing, and we've got to accommodate those people, and many are bringing their partners and children as well, which adds it's an added bonus but also an added challenge.
Wilson says there will be a trades expo as well as the competition, so there's something for everyone. But the main attraction will be the World Championship finals, once the 150 competitors are brought down to the final 6.
You can imagine the 6 that come out of there are going to be some of the best in the world, and it's just going to be an amazing final. These fellas are so professional and athletic at the job. As
for me, I'm hoping in 2 weeks when I cover the event, no one tries to shear me. I'm Ruby Spink for The South Today.
Still to come on The South Today, it's a huge project, highly detailed and demanding a massive amount of skill, and it's undertaken in Invercargill. And can the ORC and the DCC amalgamate smoothly? Or is there a tempest ahead? David Lockray brings us his insights to the studio soon.
Emu oil has been used for centuries to support joint mobility and tired muscles. Also helpful for supporting healthy skin. Available as oil or in capsules. Go to www.silverhorn.co.nz to order Emu oil today.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Got the rallies coming to stay these holidays, but the lawn's looking a mess. Call the team at Really Lawn, open right through Christmas and New Year.
Yes, Sonny Chin.
Neck, shoulder, back, sciatica, pain specialists. Innovative tools specifically designed to contour your grooves of depletion and excess muscle buildup.
Sonny Chin, it works.
Grandad loved his family and surfing, in that order. He taught me to surf, and we spent a lot of time in the water together over the years. When he died, I strapped the camera to the nose of his old board and filmed the paddle out at St. Clair. Gillian's played the video on the big screen at his funeral. Grandad would have loved having everyone come out one last surf with him.
Gillian's Funeral Services, helping families celebrate the lives of their loved ones for generations. Gillians.co.nz.
Larnock Castle on the peninsula is an ideal getaway, whether it's for an afternoon visit to wander the gardens or enjoy the stunning views. perhaps stay a while in one of our fabulous rooms overlooking the peninsula. Larnock Castle is a must-see, and you can now experience the castle's history via a self-guided tour. There's also Camp Estate just moments down the road, and perfect for functions or your big day. Larnock Castle, just 15 minutes from downtown Dunedin.
Active Furnishers Limited, home of quality service with superior product, and an in-house design team who are always happy to advise and create an imaginative solution for you. Active Furnishers Limited, part of Dunedin's design history.
From rare to the recent, visit the legendary Hard to Find for your quality second-hand books, with the largest stock in New Zealand and a friendly book-loving atmosphere. For good prices, buying or selling, come visit 20 Dowling Street.
Arrow International knows what the essential ingredient is for accomplishing great projects, working with great people. 30 years on and 3,000 projects later, with 10 offices and 400 staff nationwide, a company who values partnerships with their clients and carries a strong reputation for passion, integrity and the love of a challenge, excelling in the construction industry and helping to create, with our partners, more iconic New Zealand buildings.
When it's time to say goodbye to your pet, Heaven Sent Pet Cremations are here to help you through this difficult experience. Call Heaven Sent Pet Cremations today for their care and guidance. Phone 489 2274.
Put your seatbelts on for this one and rev it up. Thursday night is Motorsport Night. Proudly brought to you by multi-award winning Garrador.
Welcome back to the South Today. The proposed use of public space at the Dunedin railway station for the new Cobb & Co restaurant deck was the subject of a council hearing today. There were 61 submissions, with 3/4 in opposition to the addition of the deck. Only 27 submissions were considered by council. Those who spoke in favour of the addition included business development consultant Kevin Fleury. He said the investment would add new jobs and vibrancy to the area. Dozens of public objections were deemed out of scope because they focused on the deck's design and its impact on heritage values. Now, the subject of the Dunedin City Council and the Otago Regional Council merging has been kicked around for a while. Councillor Lee Vandervis has been a vocal proponent of cutting costs by joining the two organisations. And at this morning's Dunedin City Council annual plan meeting, the idea became a little closer to being realised. To give us his insights on this developing story, Otago Daily Times reporter David Lockray joins me today. Good evening to you, David. Okay. Now, this story is we're going to go in quite a bit of detail in tomorrow's Otago Daily Times about this, but what's happening with the DCC and the ORC merging? What happened at the meeting?
Well, it came rather out of the blue. There was a discussion at the Dunedin City Council annual plan meeting this morning. They get the community boards in and they have their wish list, and they were talking a little bit about harbour access issues and assets on the harbour, jetties and the like, and so it was a discussion about, and they made there was a motion to help them talk to the ORC and that sort of thing. That sort of morphed for some reason into a discussion about a unitary authority, which would be really a merger of the ORC and the DCC. That went to a motion, and the motion didn't call for a merger. It called for a high-level report from council staff on how that would happen and what needed to happen and what it might look like. The interesting thing was that was voted for unanimously by all the councillors. So they're not necessarily saying this is what we want. They are saying we want to have a look at this.
Right, so this isn't finite, but it's on the table and everybody seems to agree. That's got to be rare.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of votes where everyone votes for or against something. That's not unusual. Right. Slightly unusual that when Councillor Vandervis brings something up, because he often doesn't get other people with him. On this occasion, he most definitely did.
And he's a polarising figure, and this is a polarising idea too, to join two very complex organisations together and meshing them. What's the likelihood of this happening? I know it's a very broad question for you.
it's an awfully long way off, and it has to go through a reasonably complex process with the local government commission. And also we have to get from the report, we have to see what the report says. If then councillors support it, they have to vote for the thing to go ahead. Has to go to the local government commission. So it's a long way off, but this is a first step.
Okay, so there are a lot of meetings ahead of us, a lot of reports to be compounded yet.
Sure.
But Lawrence Yule from the LGNZ conference says that he is actually in favour of this. It's a good signal, at least.
Well, that was discussed at the meeting today, that I think the government is also fairly keen on rationalisation of councils. I mean, it's a conversation that needs to be had about what's best for representation, what's best for democracy. I mean, the ORC and the DCC do quite different things. The ORC does more high-level stuff, and it does stuff for the environment, pollution, looks after our rivers, our coast and all that sort of thing, and that's why the DCC sometimes has to go to it to get its own resource consent for things it does. So they kind of, hold each other off or hold each other to account in some ways. So I mean, there's an awful lot to be thought about.
There's a lot of financial responsibilities between these two organisations as well, and the merging of them would suggest that any duplication of effort would be reduced.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much duplication there is. I mean, that was something that will come out in the report. There are definitely interesting financial situations, differing financial situations for them both. The ORC is in pretty good position. The DCC has a lot more debt. The ORC has Port Otago and Chalmers Properties, which are companies that give us a lot of dividends. The council's companies like Delta and Aurora, as we know, are struggling a wee bit. So I mean, there'll certainly be a bit of tension there.
It's going to be a very interesting couple of months or a couple of years ahead of us.
Oh, a couple of decades? No, probably not that long, but this will be a long, slow process, so it's not going to happen overnight.
Right, a lot of meetings ahead of us, a lot of reports to come forward, and a lot more detail in tomorrow's Otago Daily Times?
As much as I can dream up and get from people in the next sort of hour.
All right, back to that word processor, David Locko. Okay. Thank you so very much indeed.
Cheers.
All right. Right, after the break on the South today, after more than a century of diligent work, a centrepiece of farming has had its final day, and a better forecast is ahead. I promise.
Emu oil has been used for centuries to support joint mobility and tired muscles. Also helpful for supporting healthy skin. Available as oil or in capsules. Go to www.silverhorn.co.nz to order emu oil today.
Got the rallies coming to stay these holidays, but the lawn's looking a mess? Call the team at Ready Lawn, open right through Christmas and New Year.
Active Furnishers Limited, home of quality service with superior product, and an in-house design team who are always happy to advise and create an imaginative solution for you. Active Furnishers Limited, part of Dunedin's design history.
Larnac Castle on the peninsula is an ideal getaway, whether it's for an afternoon visit, to wander the gardens or enjoy the stunning views. Perhaps stay a while in one of our fabulous rooms overlooking the peninsula. Larnac Castle is a must-see, and you can now experience the castle's history via a self-guided tour. There's also Campus State just moments down the road, and perfect for functions or your big day. Larnac Castle, just 15 minutes from downtown Dunedin.
Arrow International knows what the essential ingredient is for accomplishing great projects, working with great people. 30 years on and 3,000 projects later, with 10 offices and 400 staff nationwide, a company who values partnerships with their clients and carries a strong reputation for passion, integrity, and the love of a challenge, excelling in the construction industry. and helping to create, with our partners, more iconic New Zealand buildings.
Yes, Sonny Chin.
Neck, shoulder, back, sciatica, pain specialists. Innovative tools specifically designed to contour your grooves of depletion and excess muscle buildup.
Sonny Chin, it works.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
From rare to the recent, visit the legendary Hard to Find for your quality second-hand books, with the largest stock in New Zealand and a friendly book-loving atmosphere. For good prices, buying or selling, come visit 20 Dowling Street.
Put your seatbelts on for this one and rev it up. Thursday night is Motorsport Night. Proudly brought to you by multi-award-winning Garrador.
Thank you for staying with The South Today. Cromwell Police are seeking information from the public following a domestic incident in the Cromwell Gorge. A 20-year-old German man attempted to drive his vehicle into Lake Dunstan. The attempt was unsuccessful as the front wheel of the car became caught in the crash barrier. The accident happened at Italian Creek and there was one passenger in the car at the time. The man has been charged with attempted murder in relation to the incident and will be appearing in the Queenstown Court Thursday the 26th of January. The hammer has come down for the last time at the Tynwald sale yards in mid-Canterbury. PGG Rights and Livestock Manager Greg Cook thanked buyers and sellers at the final sale. The Tynwald sale yards closed after 138 years of operation. Agents started work early on the final morning to prepare the bigger than usual offering. For those attending, it was a time to reminisce about the past and catch up for a yarn. The first recorded stock sale at Ashburton was in 1864 and the first sale at Tynwald was on August the 20th, 1878. Embroiderers across the country are well on the way to completing a mammoth tapestry project. They are fabricating aspects of New Zealand's history in wool, and the Southland contingent are eyes down, hard at work.
Where art meets history. Hi, I'm Ruby Spink in Invercargill, where the Southland Embroiderers Guild have been hard at work for over 300 hours to finish their tapestry and still have more to go. They're part of a nationwide project to record New Zealand's history.
It was first mooted by a man called Fred Haslam from Dunedin, and he had seen tapestries telling the story of particular things overseas and thought that it would be a great idea to have the New Zealand history told in a series of tapestries.
The Tapestry Trust of New Zealand is working with the Association of Embroiderers Guilds to complete 100 stitched panels for the collection. The Southland Embroiderers Guild are basing their panel on the history of fishing in southern waters, making it Southland specific.
Whaling, we have the shipwreck of the Tararua down at Slope Point.
The Southland Embroiderers Guild raised $5,000 to take part through the help of Creative Community Invercargill, the ILT Foundation, Creative Community Southland and Community Trust Southland. Once all the tapestries are collected at the end of February, they will be displayed close to the group's home.
Each tapestry is going to be mounted separately and they are going to be displayed in a purpose-built building in Dunedin, which was one thing which I thought was quite important because it's a shame to do things and they disappear to Auckland or somewhere else and we don't ever get to see them.
The members have been working on the project since October last year, sometimes with 8 people working on it at a time. Clay says it's been a great experience.
It has been pretty special and we've thoroughly enjoyed it and we've had a lot of good fellowship time while we've been sitting working on it.
She says it'll be nice to have her name recorded in history for taking part. I'm Ruby Spink for The South Today.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on The South Today. Thousands of people and sheep will be flocking to Southland in 2 weeks with the World Shearing and Wool Handling Championships just around the corner. A Wellington man is taking his 2 dogs and his homemade rickshaw across New Zealand to raise money for animal welfare. And the final day of the big sailing competitions on Otago Harbour got off to a very windy start yesterday with winds of around 40 knots. And it's time now to have a look at what's happening in tomorrow's Otago Daily Times. Phil Somerville, this is an interesting paper coming up. What's happening?
Well, we have our usual hard news, like the story about the German, the police's allegation. Another court story about a man at Moana Pool admitting using a pinhole camera to film people changing.
Goodness
but
me.
Newspapers are a great old mixture, and we love it that way. And the Chef's Garden in the fresh pages, Chef's Garden with Bevan Smith, there's some gorgeous looking recipes there. The peach sorbet with vodka sounded good.
Oh my goodness.
So I can see that being on your list. The tortilla barbecue,
yes.
And roast beetroot, with all sorts of other bits and pieces. Roast beetroot seems to be very popular these days.
Oh, the delicious food revolution.
Yes, and also on the food pages, there's plenty of them. Charmaine Smith's talking about our New Year's healthy eating resolutions and the common advice from the head of the nutrition department at Otago University. And I think we all know it, and that's not to rush into things, gradually make changes and don't suffer the consequences otherwise. Girls' sport, girls' cricket competition's going to start in Dunedin. That's about time.
Great.
Yeah, and wash pages with Dave Cannon on page 2. Otago's biggest lily, perhaps, at the Fulton Radius Fulton home, and he's looking at Operation Deep Freeze when it used to operate out of Port Chalmers, and Americans trying to make connection with someone from those days. So look out for that as well.
Interesting, friends from the past always catching up with you.
Indeed.
Marvellous. Another good issue in the Otago Daily Times tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. And time now to have a look at tomorrow's weather.
The South Today weather update proudly brought to you in association with Silverhorns Emu Oil.
And taking a look at today's Southern View, looking towards the remarkable remarkables. And let's have a look at the situation, and I'm giving you an easy one, a west to southwesterly airflow. It's a cold front and it's due tomorrow morning with accompanying lingering cold conditions all across the country. To the southern outlook, it's pretty stock standard from one end to the other. Balclutha, at Catlins, Lumsden, Gore, it is strong. Cold southwesters, showers clearing, 14 degrees no matter where you go. To the central, it's exactly the same. Alexandra, cold or easing southwesters, becoming fine. Queenstown, it's the same. Te Anau, southwesters easing, it's also 14, and the same in beautiful Wanaka. To Oamaru, easing southwesters, becoming fine. Omarama, 14. Timaru, southwesters arriving, becoming fine, and 17. And in Twizel, easing southwesters, becoming fine, pretty much the standard across the country at the moment. Here in Dunedin tonight, strong southwesters tonight. A few showers are expected, an overnight low of 12. But tomorrow, showers in the morning, cool westerlies developing. Fine late in the day, 9 and 14 are expected. And on Thursday, sunny periods. I said it was good, but more rain later. And southwesters again, 9 and 17. In Invercargill tonight, late rain tonight. Gale force westerlies easing, 9. Tomorrow, rain tomorrow morning with again strong westerlies but easing later in the day, 9 and 14. And Thursday, more showers until Friday afternoon, I'm afraid. Cool southwesters, 9 and 13. And on behalf of the hard-working news team for the South Today, it's been my privilege and my pleasure. Craig Story, thank you, good evening.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.